For over 70 years, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Marin has worked to inspire joy and justice in an imperfect world, sharing life's journey, celebrating many paths, and acting to make a difference. UU Marin celebrates people from all walks of life. No matter how you make your living or how you experience the sacred, no matter who you are, where you're from, or who you love, you are welcome here. If you're seeking open-hearted community, a place where you can have a real day-to-day impact in the world, and a space for the whole family to grow spiritually, come check out the church at the top of the hill. Come join UU Marin.
Through below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor nor port have I known. Wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun my sail and moon my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, reach the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor nor port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
So for sharing of life's journey today, I decided that it was really important, especially for this service, to have someone speak who is experiencing homelessness. So I went to the tent of one of my dear friends. His name is Mark. He gave me consent to record him, to tell you his name. He said it was very important to him that I tell you his name. And this is just a very brief conversation that the two of us had, knowing that this would be shared to all of you. And so I hope you enjoy it. I hope you learn something from it. And I hope you get a little bit of Mark's sparkle, because he's a very special human being. Thank you.
Okay. Hey.
Can you tell me your name and maybe a little bit about yourself, like right now, like?
Of course. I'm Mark Rivera. I'm 64. I live in San Rafael in the city park, and I have been self-sufficient here for the most part, and I rely on the kindness of members of the housed community for their acceptance of myself being here. That's probably the most important thing to me. Yeah. Now, these days, my ambition is strong, and I have goals that I intend to manage to come to fruition, and hopefully bring a couple of life lessons along with me. How's that?
That's great. What are some of your goals? Where do you see yourself? On TV.
No. The joke that I've carried with me for several years now is, and most homeless people, they also share this sentiment that I want to share with you, and that's food availability. If someone would, for quite some time now, someone would ask me, well, what can I do for you? Cheeseburger. That was the joke, a cheeseburger, like Wimpy, the cartoon.
Yeah.
But yes. I went through periods of time in my 32 years of being homeless, of dreaming about food, about dreaming about nothing but food, just enjoying like a hot meal. That is on the top of the list of, I pretty much guarantee it, for homeless people that for the most part have their life together. I'm talking about the unfortunate souls that are heavy drinkers or use of narcotics where they don't feel like eating.
Yeah.
Their dreams are of using those things. Mine are about food, and most homeless people that have their act together to the degree where at least they know where they want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What has your journey with food been? I know it's been a really intense one for you.
Yes, it has certainly been a roller coaster ride, and it's not over yet. And fortunately, I'm on the downhill swing at this point, so I'm putting weight on. I'm regaining my health, and focusing on improving the stress level.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious, like you said, you've been homeless for 35 years.
32.
32.
Yeah.
That's a really long time. And how's that impacted who you are as a person? And
it made me bitter, made me angry, made me ostracized from the house community that don't understand what homeless people go through, only what they see of the negative side. What they don't see is what caused the homelessness to begin with.
Yeah.
And one can say, it's bad upbringing or drugs or alcohol, but what caused the drug and alcohol use is what caused the homelessness. And society caused the drug and alcohol use.
Yeah.
And only society can fix homelessness.
For sure. Yeah. If you could say something to society, to the house community. I know you said before,
it takes a village.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, and I know you said more acceptance and kindness and stuff.
And I understand everybody has limitations in terms of what they're capable of expressing of themselves. But I accept cash and credit cards, so
not just kindness.
We can make up for these little inadequacies. Money, I tell you, it cures everything, right?
Does it?
No, to be safe, warm, or cool. In the summers, they get hot here. To be accepted by society.
Yeah.
Just for who I am, for who I present to be.
Yeah.
And again, I'm more than willing to accept someone's opinion of me on site, especially if it's positive.
Yeah.
No, but you get what I mean. It's
Yeah.
like, I don't get a choice. What they think, they think.
Yeah.
But and that there's always hope. I don't think of it as hope. There's always, it's got to be something we can do here. Yeah.
I agree.
To get somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to now that I got my wits about me again.
Yeah.
That dementia from malnutrition.
Yeah.
Really affected a lot of my life, and it takes a whole lot of energy to try to catch up with society and its pace.
Yeah. That's a huge one.
Yeah.
Because especially here, we move so fast.
Being on foot. Being on foot in Marin County.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's a challenge for me to remain with my equilibrium because of the traffic flows is so unpredictable.
Yeah.
Here in San Rafael.
Yep. I can imagine.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Mark. Is there anything else you want to say to the people of the world? Any last message?
Yes, donate to Charlotte's Church.
Thank you. Oh, that's Mark. Thanks, Mark.
Got a new mercy, new grace, sweet corner preacher with an angry face.
working for the Savior. Oh.
Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Reverend Charlotte. I used to work here probably about a year ago for maybe like 2 or 3 years. I can't remember. I was super bald back then. And it's just, there's so many familiar faces here, and I just I feel like I'm coming home, and I'm just I'm a little emotional. I'm just so happy to be here, just to share with you. So, as my introduction said, I am a street minister, and I was asked to come back to talk about my work in street ministry. And so that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to talk to you about what street ministry is, what I've been doing past 2 years, and to also kind of to tell you more about what street ministry is in the context of community, and how community is actually probably the most important part of street ministry. And so I know that you all have been talking about transformation recently. And let me tell you, I have had a transformation. And it's because of street ministry. And my hope is to bring that transformation to you, and to show you how this community and how our community at large can experience that transformation on a really spiritual level and a social justice level, which I know you use. Love that. Spiritual and social justice. So as you can probably tell, I am standing here without a piece of paper in front of me. I'm also not going to be going behind the pulpit today. I've been preaching about my work for probably the past 6 months, and I started out writing something with a piece of paper, going behind the pulpit. And I would always come home from those services feeling really weird, feeling kind of off. And so I started to practice what we call in the field extemporaneous preaching. For me, it's speaking from the heart. So the work that I do is incredibly vulnerable. It's incredibly precious to me. Listening to Mark speak really... it made me very emotional because I care about that man so much. And he is one of many, many people who have touched my heart and my life. I don't know if I can ever talk about this work from a piece of paper behind a pulpit ever again, because it's about the heart. It's about the heart. And it's about speaking from this place. And it's about transforming power dynamics. And this is a bit of a power dynamic. And what I'm trying to do is break down those barriers. Because the folks who live outside who I work with, their experience is happening because of these power dynamics that we have built into our society. So, I'm a street minister. What does that mean? What does that mean? What it means is that I get to be in relationship with people who are at the margins of society. What I do on my work days is I go out, I park, and I start to walk the streets. People are like, "Where's your office?" And I'm like, "You're standing in it." Yeah. I walk around, I know where people live. Some people I run into. I go to the encampment. And I talk to people. Maybe I don't talk to people. Most of the time I listen to people. Sometimes I talk to people. And I build relationships. Again, for a street minister, it's all about the relationships. I connect with people. I listen to them. I also go into the jail, and I will sit face to face through the glass on the phone, which is a very strange experience. And we'll have a conversation, maybe 45 minutes and to an hour. Sometimes I have to put my boundary down because it really can go on forever. And I also go into the jail, and I do tarot card readings with people, which is really fun. So I'll sit with a group of like 10 men. We'll give each of them a tarot card, and we'll talk about what it means to them. My work is very dynamic. I don't know what's going to happen in any given day. I'll be walking down the street. I could meet somebody having a psychotic break. I could meet somebody having a really good day. I will sit with somebody in their tent who is so depressed they can't move. Recently, one of my friends taught me how to throw a football. And we did that for about half an hour. He was very sweet with me. I just can't. I can't, but it was fun. That was probably my favorite care encounter of the day. Sometimes it's very basic. Hi, how are you? Nice to see you. Sometimes it's very basic. Hello, a smile. Sometimes I'm talking to people for hours. It's a give and a take. It's an experience. You never know what's going to happen. You never know the time kind of disappears. It's like entering into another world, entering into another space. A lot of what I do is about being in compassion, extending compassion, looking people in the eyes, saying, I see you in this. I see you. I can't fix it. I wish I could. I say that to people all the time. It's about bearing witness to the suffering, which is, it's a heavy load to carry sometimes. Sometimes my job is simply to laugh with people. I bring forward my goofiness. I bring forward my fashion. I bring forward the sparkly, blingy, whatever. It's about bringing the humanity back in people. This is what street ministry is. It's about reminding people that they are not just survival. They're human too, and they are loved and seen. And you would be surprised, or maybe not so surprised, how remarkably rare that is for folks, to be loved and seen. When people ask me about the work that I do, and I tell them at the dog park, at parties, I don't really go to parties, but, social engagements, I tell them, and there's always a bit of a pause. There's always a bit of like a what? But a common response I get is, thank God you do it because I couldn't. Ooh. That's a hard response for me to hear. And it's a funny one too, because I've said it. Whew. When I was first starting seminary, I was getting my Master of Divinity, I was very dead set. I'm going to be work in a hospital as a chaplain. I want to work with people who are dying. I want to work with people who are ill. And that was my path. And I remember sitting in a class. It was a panel, and there was a street minister there who is now a dear friend, and she was talking about her work. And I remember listening to her and thinking to myself, yeah, that's not for me. Mm-mm. Thank God she does it because I couldn't. And it's amazing how the universe works, right? The reason why I said that was because up until I started this work, I had a lot of fear around homelessness. I had a lot of fear and anxiety and guilt. And it was powerful. And I could not imagine myself working with this population, with this community, because it frightened me. But again, it's amazing how the universe works, and it's amazing how I was like, okay, can't find an internship. The only thing I could find was the Street Chaplaincy. Literally the only thing. And I remember sitting there realizing that this is what I was going to do and being like, well, you know what? This scares the living crap out of me, pardon my French. So I might as well go straight towards it. And it changed my life. Like, I say that a lot, actually. Things do change my life. But this work, talk about transformation. This changed my life. I am a completely different person because of this work. Because I realized that those who experience homelessness, those who experience mental illness and addiction, they are also some of the most beautiful human beings in the world. The most wise, the funniest. They are part of me, and they're also a part of all of you. So when I hear people say, thank God you do it because I couldn't, my first response is, well, yes, of course you could. I mean, you maybe not go to seminary for 5 billion years and do all the training and all the money. Maybe not that. Sure, why not? But at the very basic level of what I do, it is offering compassion. Being compassionate, being present, going towards the suffering and saying, hey, I've got your back, I'm here. Street ministry is not just the ministers going out. There are very few of us. And there are even less of us who are housed. Street ministry is not just about us, and we should be supported more. Don't get me started. We should be supported more. There should be more of us, and we should be getting paid $1 billion a year. Street ministry is not just about the minister. Street ministry is also about the communities. Street ministry is 50% minister. Actually, I take that back. It's 30% minister, 70% community. We seem to have this idea in our culture, in our country, that there is a separation between the unhoused community and the housed community. We seem to have this idea that it is the government's responsibility to take care of homelessness. This is a problem, so the government's going to take care of it. This is a problem, so the social services and the people who are trained, they're going to take care of it. Yes, there is some accuracy into that. The government does have responsibility. Social services do have responsibility. But I also think that we've been thinking that for a very long time, and what has happened to homelessness? It's gone up. It's gone up. It is not going anywhere. So what are we missing here? What are we missing? It's us. It's the people. We need to stop. We need to stop pointing they'll take care of it. Because it's us. It's our responsibility. And the thing is that we also have been raised, we've been brought up in a culture that teaches us to fear poverty and fear mental illness and fear addiction and not talk about it and ignore it and walk away from it. Do you know what it's like to be a person living outside and have someone ignore you? That, to me, is the most damaging thing. That's more damaging than not having affordable housing. That gets to people. That alters people's spirits. And at the end of the day, I'm not trying to guilt or shame anyone. This is my invitation to all of you, as it was an invitation that was presented to me by Spirit. What happens when we walk towards? What happens when we look people in the eye and say, "Hi, how are you? Do you want a cookie?" I believe that that's where radical change happens. The people who I work with mean so much to me. They are such profound people who have endured things that we have nightmares about. And those are the folks who are in great need of care, of belonging. Part of my work, so I work for the Street Chaplaincy, and recently felt this calling to start my own organization called Temple of the Forgotten. And the whole purpose is to educate communities on what it means to create communities of belonging, what it means to work through these fears and these anxieties and to come out the other side more compassionate and more willing to, again, move forward. This work that I've done, I've started to do this with a few congregations. It's been pretty amazing to give people the opportunity to really feel the discomfort and then move through it. Because again, when we're talking about spiritual transformation, almost every volunteer that I've worked with, almost every person who was once afraid of the unhoused for no reason, I had no reason, there was just what was inside of me, and who have moved through that and who have built relationships with people, everyone says to me, "You know what? I think I was more transformed than they were. I think I actually had a deeper spiritual experience." Because when we turn towards suffering, we're not just turning towards another suffering, we're turning towards our own suffering, and we are learning and teaching ourselves to include suffering in our understanding of what life is, and to extend compassion towards that. And there's great power there. And so in my world, I often imagine, what if every single religious congregation in Marin had some sort of street ministry? These guys handed out socks once a month. These guys went out every week and gave cookies. These guys opened their doors and said, "Come in for a meal once a week." These guys had a peer group that went out onto the streets and said, "Hey, do you need help with your figuring out how to do your paperwork?" What if every single congregation had that in Marin? Do you know what would happen? Something remarkable would happen. What if we started believing in street ministers and supported them? What if we had 10 street ministers out on the streets? Because at the end of the day, thank God you do it, because I couldn't. I can't do this forever. This is hard. This is hard. This is heavy. I need to take care of myself. I need a community. I need other people behind me and around me and top of me. I need everyone out there so that I can take a load off. I'm just kidding. I would like to rest sometimes. I do rest, but to know that there are people out there who care just as deeply as I do, who see these folks just as clearly as I do. There's great power in that. So I hope as you go out into the world, I hope that you challenge yourself. If you've never looked at somebody unhoused in the eyes, I hope you challenge yourself to look them in the eyes and smile. If you look at people often but never talk to them, I hope that you start a conversation. If you talk to folks often, I hope that you begin to build relationships. That is my hope for you, is that you walk, and as you walk through your feet, through your roots, come out compassion. They spread out into all these folks who really, really, really need you. They really do. They really, really do. And I hope that you begin to wonder, what would it look like for this community to be a street ministry, to have a street ministry? What would it look like for us to do something, even if it's small? It doesn't have to be too big. And what would it look like for us to remind the communities and congregations around us that it is all of our responsibilities as people of faith, as people of spirit? Homelessness is related to spirit. It is a spiritual problem. And so the people of faith in this community, it rests on our shoulders. And what a holy gift that is, to be able to transform something, suffering to community, isolation to belonging. What a holy, holy gift. Thank you. Blessed be.